I'd like to introduce our sponsor, or representing our sponsor, InspectorPro Insurance, is Carrie Joubert-Lawson, who for the past 10 years has been with Home Inspector Pro Insurance, brokering their policies. Carrie has a real life. She's got a family. She's got 2 kids, and understands why protecting your livelihood and avoiding unnecessary risk is critical.
Hi, everybody. My name's Carrie Lawson. I am definitely new to doing these online presentations. I'm far more used to meeting you guys in person, but I've made a few notes so that I can get through everything I want to in the 15 minutes I have with you. I am a certified insurance counselor, and I've been working with home inspectors now for 12 years total. I was a real estate agent before that, and I come from a family of realtors and home inspectors. Basically, what that means is I really do understand your business and what it needs. A bit about InspectorPro, for those of you who don't know InspectorPro, we're a specialty brokerage that focuses on home inspector coverage. We built a better policy for inspectors when we saw the need back in 2009. The options you guys have were limited, the premiums were high, and the coverages didn't really meet your needs completely. We've since become the leading brokerage for home inspectors in the nation. It's a lot to do with our claims management and our customer service, which is really key when you're dealing with a broker. You want somebody who's going to actually pick up the phone, right? Not somebody who keeps emailing you and delays and days. You guys have certificates you need, you have questions, work with somebody who's going to pick up and help you with that. So we're much more than just an insurance agency. Yes, we sell coverage, but we really want to be a risk management partner for the industry. I'm sure a lot of you have seen some of our articles in the ASHI Reporter and around our social media. If you're hungry for more claim scenarios and examples, they're great cautionary tales where you can learn from others and not have to make those mistakes yourself. I definitely encourage you to check out our blog, which is on our website, www.inspectorproinsurance.com. So what we offer is E&O and general liability coverage. We can customize that policy to make sure that it fits your needs. Make sure you're not paying for things you don't need as well. And E&O and general liability are both important. On the general liability side, what you're buying is protection against bodily injury or property damage that you may cause when you're on-site inspecting. So for example, if you have a ladder out and it falls over, it smashes into the truck in the driveway, and maybe it bounces off the window first, and of course it hits the person standing there. This happened recently. It was the seller's brand new truck, and of course he wanted that fixed. That would be a general liability claim. More importantly, though, on the general liability side, I like to caution everybody about running water. We get too many of these claims, and you think it would be a little less common, but whenever you're testing overflows and whirlpool tubs, it takes some time for that thing to fill up. You get tempted to walk away, you're speaking to your client. We get a lot of calls where they've left the water running, and a lot of damage happens pretty quickly. So don't turn your back on it, it's like a toddler. On the E&O side of things, what you're buying is coverage for your report, or if you fail to report something, or if you report incorrectly. These types of claims can be very costly, especially defense, and defense and attorney's fees are part of your E&O limits. Unfortunately, you don't have to make an error to get a claim. Anybody can sue you for anything. So as excellent as you may be at your job, it's important to consider this coverage to protect you from frivolous claims. Make sure your clients understand what the limitations of your inspection are. That is honestly the cleanest way to avoid a claim coming about from things you shouldn't be responsible for. The top 5 most common E&O claims, and there's a lot more data on this on our website if you're interested, but they're mold, water damage, plumbing, foundation issues, and roofs. Deck and pest related claims are pretty high up there as well, though. So in addition to the E&O and the general liability coverage that we offer, one of the great things we do is we offer pre-claims assistance, which is what it sounds like. It's free help with disgruntled customers before they file a claim. There's no deductible, there's no penalty on your renewal to use this service. Our pre-claims team are really skilled experts in the industry, the same team that helps you in the event it escalates to a claim, and they know how to squash it before it becomes a bigger issue and escalates. They'll help with writing response letters, providing guidance, and really navigate you through the situation to try to get to the best possible outcome. So a couple risk management tricks, two things that I really want you guys to leave with in my short time with you is inspection agreements. Getting those signed every single time, but before you begin inspecting is absolutely critical. Most policies these days do exclude coverage if the agreement isn't signed before you begin. If you wait to have them signed before you release the report, it's often seen as a forced contract and it's much harder to uphold and defend you. With all the electronic options we have, there's DocuSign, there's software available. They help you get these signed, so it makes it a lot easier to manage that for your business, keep them on file and save that. The other tip that I want to make sure everybody's doing, and I feel like this is a pretty well understood in the industry at this point, is pictures. We need those pictures to defend you and protect you from wrongful claims. They don't all need to be in the report. Keep them for yourself, especially of areas that were obstructed, that are cluttered with belongings. And then I'm also seeing a lot of claims with vegetation on the exterior preventing you from doing a good and thorough foundation inspection. Snap a few pictures to show the condition at the time. Buyers love to move in and pull all that stuff and redo it, and they find things that they think you should have seen. If we've got that to prove what was visible, it really helps us move forward. So also review your policy. I know it's overwhelming. Speak to your agent, have them turn it into basic terms for you. Look at add-on services, things like mold and radon and pest. It's important to cover as much as possible so that you're not left with any coverage gaps. When you're comparing coverage, some things that I think are important to look at, look for sublimits on these policies. Oftentimes they can shave a few dollars off. You might buy $1 million policy, but you'll find you might only have $100,000 for something as important like mold. That's not something you want sublimited down. Find a policy that covers you to your full limits. Look at the exclusions list, probably the simplest way to see what you're not covered for aside from visual inspections being covered. And then work with somebody who specializes in the industry. It's going to make it a lot easier for them to explain things to you and to protect you when it does come time if you have a claim to report. So I also wanted to go through a couple steps and tips and tricks for when you get a complaint. Now, we're not talking about a claim, we're talking about disgruntled customer calls. So to understand, you really need to know the difference. A claim by most policy definition is a written demand for money or insurance, whereas pre-claims are just disgruntled customers. They haven't made a demand or an allegation. They've just got complaints they want to discuss with you. So when you first get that email from your client and they have concerns, here are some do's and don'ts. Number one, firstly and foremost, never admit fault. Even if you made the error, even if you forgot it in your report, you should never admit fault because admitting liability goes against most home inspector policies and makes you much tougher to defend. Don't apologize either. Saying you're sorry can be held against you and count as an admission in court as well. So instead, we encourage you to say things like, thank you for letting me know. I'm sure this is frustrating. You can, however, empathize with your client, and we highly encourage you to do this. They're a lot less likely to file a claim if they feel heard. So acknowledge that they have a concern, that you're interested in investigating it, even if the complaint is unfounded. By responding quickly and respectfully, you're far more likely to diffuse the situation and avoid it from becoming bigger. So at this point, you're really trying to build a timeline of events. It's helpful to know the sequence of events which led to the discovery of the issues. So what triggered their investigation of the area? What were they doing when they initially discovered it? Why does the client believe you're at fault? Listen carefully and ask questions so you can understand as much as possible. By collecting this info up front, you'll be better equipped to respond to their allegations. So at this point, a lot of people do end up revisiting the property. Now it's going to depend on the situation. Not everything is going to warrant a property revisit. Many times, and depending on the allegations, it will. So schedule a time as soon as possible. Too many of these clients will do the repair work before they let you back. Try to get there before that point so that you've got an opportunity to see the alleged defects for yourself. The primary purpose is just to gather some information so you can compare it alongside your own report. Do not discuss or debate the question of liability or whether you were able to identify the issues during the original inspection. Instead, tell your client you'll review it when you get back to the office and you'll get back to them. You really are trying to buy yourself some time to look at everything so you're not responding in a quick manner that might be incorrect. So investigate it internally, gather what you've looked at, gather your original report, the notes from the reinspection, any additional information or pictures they've given you. If you aren't the one who did the inspection, if you have employees, speak to them, have them look over the documents with you, gather all the facts you can. It's important to document the location of the issues and any obstructions that were there at the time of inspection as well. So this is when you would contact the pre-claims team. Once you reviewed your info, you contact them to discuss the next steps. With each pre-claim, our primary goal is to avoid a claim from being filed to get ahead of the damage. So we'll provide advice, support, we'll write a response letter if that's warranted, and help come to an amicable resolution. Even if you don't have the proper coverages, let's say it's mold related, you don't carry mold coverage, that's still covered in pre-claims. They don't bind you to the terms of the full policy. You have much broader coverage in a pre-claim scenario. As ASHI inspectors, you all have access to this. You in fact get additional discounts and savings on our program, including a free 5-year tail when you retire. So I certainly encourage you to give me a call, discuss your policy needs. And if you have questions and you aren't insured with us, I'm happy to provide my professional response and advice for that as well. Thank you very much.
Hey, Carrie.
15 minutes.
Do you guys review contracts?
We do, and we actually provide our own. So we've got a suite of contracts for ASHI inspectors. They're going to be state specific and they're going to be amazing because they're going to be beefed up to really meet the needs of your specific state.
Thank you.
You're welcome.